The first technique we'll demonstrate is using your index finger to monitor the amount of liquid in the glass. What we're going to do is bring the cup up to the spout and find the spout with your index finger. Try to keep your finger on the outside of the spout so that you don't get your fingers inside where the drink is coming out, especially if your fingers aren't clean. So once you feel that the spout is over the cup, begin to move the cup and the pitcher at the same time until the cup is flat on the table. Make sure to keep your finger inside the cup to monitor to see if the fluid's going inside. And then you know to stop when the liquid hits your finger. Okay, another method that could be used, which is particularly helpful if the container is very heavy, is to allow the pitcher to slide down below the level of the tabletop and start lining up the cup with the spout from there. Again, using your finger to align the cup, edge of the cup with the spout, and then this way you don't have to move the cup and the pitcher at the same time. You can just stabilize the cup on the tabletop. Another method for students that maybe don't like to get their fingers wet inside of the cup, can't tolerate the feeling of the liquid on their fingers, or if you're pouring a drink that's too hot that you couldn't put your finger inside the cup or you would burn yourself, you could use this, what's called a liquid level indicator. And these are available from Independent Living Aids, among some other suppliers of specialized equipment for people with visual impairments. What you do is you take the liquid level indicator and place the two prongs inside the cup and the battery part hanging on the outside of the cup. Then you can pour the drink without having to put your fingers inside. When the drink gets to the level of the cup where the prongs are, it makes a noise indicating when to stop. Serve some peas from a bowl with a spoon. And if you'll reach out for the platter to the left, using both hands, bring the bowl to touch your plate. Trace around the bowl with your finger to find the utensil. And stabilizing the bowl with your left hand, scoop towards your left hand. Then stop and wait until you locate your plate with your opposite hand. Make sure you have a place for the peas, and then turn the spoon over gently. Now you can use your left hand to find the plate, or the bowl rather, and return the spoon. Now you could pass that bowl to the right, to the next person at the table, and reach out now for the platter that has chicken cutlet, baked chicken cutlet, with a serving fork. Again, you're going to trace around to find the fork. Then using the fork, sort of check around the platter to see if you can locate the piece of chicken and guess where the middle might be. Pierce it, and again, pause to locate your plate, remembering to find a place that's not on top of the peas, maybe on the other side of the plate from where you put the peas. And bring the chicken to your plate. And if it doesn't come off of the fork easily, you can use your own clean utensil that hasn't been used yet to encourage using a knife and fork to cut. We're going to take the fork and locate the piece of meat. Now they're holding the fork in the non-dominant hand. If the person's right-handed, they'd be holding their fork in their left hand. To locate the piece of meat, find the edge of it, and slide over a bite-sized amount and pierce it. Then taking your knife in your dominant hand, the hand that requires more skill, it has more skill and requires more skill to use the knife than it does just to stabilize with the fork. That's why we teach it that way. You take the knife, find the cutting edge of the knife, either on the side of the plate or the fork. Then slide down the back of the fork and saw back and forth until you get to the plate. And then once you've gotten that piece cut, you're going to reach the knife under the fork to hold the meat stable, while the fork then jumps over the knife, roughly a bite-sized amount, and then that you can repeat it, sliding down the back of the fork and sawing back and forth. So if you notice while you're eating that one piece is maybe a little bit too big, you can put the piece of meat back down, switch hands so you're holding the fork with your left hand again, pick up your knife, slide down the back of the fork, and that should be enough to cut the piece into a smaller bite-sized piece. Using Dicem underneath the plate can help. This blue mat underneath the plate can help to keep the plate from sliding around when a student's first learning to learn how to modulate the force when sawing back and forth without sliding the plate all over the table. Okay, so now we're going to demonstrate a method for cutting spaghetti. Spaghetti is generally very, very messy and very difficult to eat, but kids love it. So this is a way that kids can be a little bit more successful with spaghetti. If you take your fork and knife in each hand, and you're going to begin in the far part of your plate. I would say the front or the back, but that's sometimes confusing. So the part of the plate that's furthest away from you. You're going to cross your knife and fork together and pinch the ends as you squeeze and pull them apart. You're going to repeat that all the way across the plate towards you. And when you get to the part that's closest to you, you're going to place your left hand and your right hand on the sides of the plate and turn the plate so that your right hand's at the top and your left hand's at the bottom of the plate. That's a quarter turn. And then you're going to repeat that again. So starting at the far end of the plate, pinch your utensils together as you drag them across the plate. Now you should have a roughly bite-sized amount that will stay on the fork.